A woman I'd never seen before walked into my engagement party with 2 children, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "I'm his wife." In front of 120 people, my perfect fairy tale engagement imploded. But what happened next? That's where things got really interesting, because when I found out the truth about who Michael really was, let's just say his secret wife and I had a conversation, and we decided to make him pay. This is my story. But let me start from the beginning. You know that feeling when everything in your life finally clicks into place? When all the struggles, the heartbreaks, the lonely nights, they all seem worth it because you finally found the one? That's exactly how I felt on the night of our engagement party. My name is Sarah, and 6 months earlier, Michael had proposed to me on a beach in Santorini. It was magical. Picture perfect sunset, him on one knee, a ring that caught the golden light like a promise of forever. I said yes before he could even finish asking. Michael was everything I'd ever wanted. Successful financial advisor, charming, thoughtful, and God, he made me laugh. He traveled a lot for work, sometimes 2 weeks out of the month, but that just made our time together more precious, more intentional. I was 31 when we met. After a string of relationships that went nowhere, I'd almost given up on finding someone who truly got me. My mom had started making comments about grandchildren. My friends were all married with kids. I felt left behind. Then Michael walked into my life at a charity gala, and everything changed. Tonight was supposed to be our celebration, our official introduction as a couple to everyone who mattered. I'd spent 3 months planning this party at the Riverside Estate, this gorgeous venue with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. White roses everywhere. String quartet playing pachelbel. Champagne towers. The works. I wore this stunning cream silk gown, not white, because that's for the wedding, but elegant and sophisticated. Michael looked incredible in his navy suit, his arm around my waist as we greeted guests. My parents were there, beaming with pride. My best friend Jessica was my unofficial party coordinator, making sure everything ran smoothly. My colleagues from the marketing firm where I worked, Michael's business partners, about 120 people total, all there to celebrate our love. "You did it, girl," Jessica whispered to me as we stood near the champagne fountain. "This is literally perfect." "And Michael? He's perfect. I'm so happy for you." I squeezed her hand. "I can't believe this is my life." Michael was across the room, chatting with my father. Watching them laugh together made my heart swell. My dad, who'd been skeptical of every guy I'd ever dated, absolutely adored Michael. "That's a good man you've got there, sweetheart," Dad had told me last week. "He's going to take care of you." The evening was going flawlessly. Dinner was served. Filet mignon and Chilean sea bass. The speeches were beautiful. My mom cried. Michael's best man made everyone laugh with stories from their college days. We were just about to cut the engagement cake, this 4-tier masterpiece decorated with sugar flowers, when I noticed a commotion near the entrance. The venue coordinator was having an intense conversation with someone at the door. Her body language was off, defensive. She kept shaking her head, but whoever was on the other side wasn't backing down. Michael was mid-conversation with some colleagues. I excused myself and walked toward the entrance, my heels clicking on the marble floor. "Is everything okay, Sandra?" I asked the coordinator. Sandra turned to me, her face flushed. "Miss Chen, there's a woman here who says she needs to speak with your fiancé. She doesn't have an invitation, and she has children with her. I've explained this is a private event, but she's insisting." "It's fine," a woman's voice interrupted, and then she walked in. She was about my age, maybe a year or two older. Pretty, with dark blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. She wore jeans and a simple sweater, nothing fancy. Behind her were 2 children, a boy who looked about 7 and a girl maybe 5. Both had dark hair and wide, confused eyes. The music seemed to fade into background noise. I could feel eyes turning toward us. "I'm looking for Michael Sullivan," the woman said, her voice shaking but determined. "I was told he'd be here." My stomach dropped. Something about the way she said his name, the desperation mixed with rage in her eyes. "I'm his fiancé," I said slowly. "Can I help you with something?" The woman's face went through about 5 emotions in 2 seconds. Shock, disbelief, then something that looked almost like pity. "His fiancé?" she repeated, her voice breaking. "His? No, that's not possible." She took a step closer, and I instinctively backed up. "I'm his wife," she said. The room started spinning. "I'm his wife." Those 3 words echoed in my head like a gunshot in an empty cathedral. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because my brain literally couldn't process what she'd just said. It was so absurd, so impossible, that laughter was the only response that made sense. I'm sorry, what? I managed to say. The woman's eyes filled with tears, but her jaw was set, determined. She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone, swiping quickly before shoving it in my face. Wedding photos. Michael, my Michael, in a tuxedo, standing next to this woman in a white dress, her hand on his chest, his arm around her waist, both of them smiling like they didn't have a care in the world. The photo was dated 8 years ago. His name is Michael Sullivan, she continued, her voice getting stronger. He's 36 years old. He works as a financial advisor for Westbrook and Associates. He has a scar on his left shoulder from a ski accident in college. He's allergic to shellfish. And these, she gestured to the children behind her, are Emma and Lucas. His children. Our children. The little girl was crying now, confused by all the tension. The boy just stared at me with those wide eyes. I couldn't breathe. The room was too hot, too bright, too loud. Mommy, I'm scared, the little girl whimpered. It's okay, baby, the woman said, not taking her eyes off me. We're going to talk to Daddy and then we'll go home. This is insane, I said, finding my voice. This is some kind of mistake. Michael isn't married. He would have told me. We've been together for 2 years. 2 years? She actually smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. It was bitter. Broken. Let me guess. He travels a lot for work? Sometimes gone for weeks at a time? My heart sank. That's when he's home with us, she continued. In Boston. We live in Newton. 37 Maple Street. We have a golden retriever named Biscuit. Michael coaches Lucas's soccer team. Where is he? She suddenly shouted, loud enough that the entire party went silent. The string quartet stopped playing. Every conversation ceased. 120 pairs of eyes turned toward us. If you're wondering what happened next, trust me, it gets so much worse before it gets better. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because the revenge we planned, you do not want to miss it. Now back to the story. I didn't have to answer. Michael had already seen us. He was standing near the bar, frozen like a deer in headlights. His face had gone completely white. In his hand was a champagne flute, and I watched it slip from his fingers and shatter on the marble floor. The woman, Rachel, saw him too. Michael, she said, her voice cracking. I think we need to talk. The little boy Lucas broke away from his mother and ran toward Michael. Daddy. He called out excitedly. We found you. Mommy said we were going to surprise you. Michael caught the boy automatically, but he looked like he was going to be sick. His eyes darted between me, Rachel, the children, and the 120 witnesses to whatever the hell was happening. My father stepped forward. Sarah? What's going on? Jessica appeared at my side, gripping my arm. Who the hell is that? Rachel walked slowly across the room toward Michael, her sneakers squeaking slightly on the polished floor. She moved like someone walking toward a car accident, like she didn't want to see but couldn't look away. When she reached him, she didn't yell. She didn't scream. She just looked at him with these eyes that held so much pain. I felt it from across the room. I found the invitation on your iPad, she said quietly. You left it open. Sarah and Michael's engagement celebration. I thought it had to be a mistake. Some other Michael Sullivan. But then I saw the venue address. And I saw the date. And I realized you told me you had a work conference this weekend. Rachel, I can explain. Michael's voice was panicked, stammering. You're engaged? Her voice rose. To her? While you're married to me. Emma started crying harder. Lucas looked up at Michael, confused. Daddy, why is Mommy upset? My mother gasped. Actually gasped. Like something in a movie. Michael's best man, the one who'd just given that touching speech about what a great guy Michael was, stood there with his mouth literally hanging open. I walked toward them slowly. Everything felt like it was happening underwater. Like I was watching this scene from outside my body. Is it true? I asked. My voice didn't sound like mine. It was flat. Dead. Michael looked at me, and I saw something I'd never seen before in his eyes. Guilt. Sarah, is it true? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Rachel pulled out her phone again, opening her Photos app. She started scrolling, then turned it toward the crowd like she was giving a presentation. Here's our wedding. June 15th, 8 years ago. Here's Michael holding Lucas in the hospital the day he was born. Here's Emma's third birthday party. Michael dressed as Spider-Man because that's what she wanted. Here's last Christmas. Here's last month. Michael and me at our anniversary dinner. She kept swiping, showing photo after photo. A whole life. A whole family. Real. Documented. Undeniable. Here's the mortgage paperwork for our house. Both our names. Here's our joint bank account. Here's the family portrait we took at Sears 3 weeks ago. I thought my husband was a workaholic, Rachel said. And now tears were streaming down her face. I thought he was sacrificing time with us to build our future. I defended him to my parents when they said he was never around. I told Emma that Daddy loved her even when he missed her dance recital. I believed every lie. She finally looked at me, and there was something apologetic in her expression. I'm sorry, she said. I'm so sorry. I know this isn't your fault. You didn't know. But I need you to understand, he's not who you think he is. I looked at Michael. This man I'd planned to spend my life with. This man I'd introduced to everyone I loved. This man wearing the suit I'd helped him pick out, standing in the venue I'd spent months planning, at a party celebrating a future that was apparently built on lies. How long? I asked. Sarah, how long have you been lying to me? He closed his eyes. Since the beginning, he whispered. And that's when my legs gave out. Jessica caught me before I hit the floor. My father was suddenly there too, his arm around me, holding me up. Get him out of here, my father said, his voice cold and hard. Get him out of my sight. Michael tried to approach me. Sarah, please, let me explain. Don't, I screamed. Don't you dare come near me. Rachel picked up Emma, who was sobbing into her mother's shoulder. Lucas clung to Michael's leg, terrified. We're leaving, Rachel said. But this isn't over, Michael. Not even close. She turned to me one last time. If you need to talk, if you need anything, here's my number. She pulled out a business card and handed it to Jessica since I couldn't seem to make my arms work. Then she took Lucas's hand and walked out, her children following behind her. The room was dead silent except for Emma's crying fading into the distance. Michael stood there, surrounded by everyone we knew, everyone who'd come to celebrate our love, and the look on his face was pure devastation. But you know what? I didn't care, because my devastation was worse. The party ended in chaos. Guests didn't know whether to leave or stay. Some tried to comfort me. Others whispered to each other, their phones already out, probably texting everyone they knew about the drama they'd just witnessed. My mother was crying. My father was on the phone with someone, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. Jessica had her arm around me, guiding me to a private room off the main ballroom. Michael tried to follow us. Sarah, please, just give me 5 minutes to explain. My father blocked his path. You've done enough. Leave. Now. Sir, I understand you're upset, but Sarah and I need to talk. My daughter doesn't need anything from you, my father said, his voice dangerously quiet. What she needs is for you to disappear. So I suggest you do that before I make you disappear. I'd never heard my father talk like that. Ever. Michael looked past him, trying to catch my eye. Sarah, I love you. Please. I couldn't even look at him. Jessica slammed the door in his face. The private room was some kind of bridal suite. Elegant couches, a vanity with lights, boxes of tissues. Like it was designed specifically for wedding emergencies. I guess this qualified. Jessica sat me down on the couch. I was shaking. Actually physically shaking like I was freezing, even though the room was warm. I'm going to kill him, Jessica said, pacing back and forth. I'm literally going to kill him. How? How could he do this? How could he lie to you for 2 years? How could he have a whole wife and kids? I couldn't answer. My brain had just stopped working. My mother came in, her mascara running down her face. She knelt in front of me and took my hands. Sweetheart, we're going to handle this. Your father is taking care of everything. The venue, the guests, all of it. You don't have to worry about anything. I don't understand, I finally said. My voice sounded hollow. I don't understand how this is real. He's a monster, my mother said. That's the only explanation. He's a monster. Jessica's phone started ringing. She looked at the screen and her eyes went wide. It's her, she said. Rachel. She's calling from the number on her business card. We all stared at the phone. Answer it, I said. Jessica put it on speaker. Hello. Rachel's voice came through, quiet and strained. Is Sarah there? Is she okay? Jessica looked at me. I nodded. I'm here, I said. There was a long pause. I could hear children's voices in the background, Emma still crying softly. "I'm so sorry," Rachel said. "I'm so sorry I did that to you in front of everyone. I didn't know what else to do. I had to confront him. I had to make him face what he'd done." "How did you find out?" I asked. "About me?" Rachel took a shaky breath. "Michael left his iPad at home last week. He usually takes it everywhere, but this time he forgot it. Lucas was playing games on it when a notification popped up. An email confirmation for tonight's event. Final headcount for Sarah and Michael's engagement celebration." She laughed bitterly. "At first I thought it was spam. Or a mistake. But then I looked at the email address. It was Michael's work email. So I opened his iPad, and I found everything. The venue booking. The emails with the wedding planner for next year. The credit card statements for a ring that cost more than our car. My engagement ring suddenly felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I found text messages between you two," Rachel continued. "Photos. Emails about apartment hunting. You were looking at places together?" "We were going to move in together after the wedding," I whispered. "He said he'd been living with a roommate but the lease was ending soon." "He lives with me," Rachel said. "In the house we bought together 5 years ago." Before I tell you what happened next, hit that like button if you think Michael deserves what's coming to him, and subscribe because the revenge Rachel and I planned is absolutely epic. Back to the story. "How long have you been married?" I asked. 8 years. We met in college. Started dating junior year. Got married right after graduation. Lucas was born a year later, Emma 2 years after that. 8 years. He'd been married for 8 years while he was dating me. "He told me he'd never been married," I said. "He said he'd been in a few long-term relationships but nothing serious. He said he was waiting for the right person." "He told me the same thing before we got married," Rachel said quietly. There was another long pause. "I've been going through his things," Rachel said. "Phone records, credit card statements, everything." "Sarah, you're not the only one." My stomach dropped. "What?" "There's evidence of at least 2 other women over the years. Different cities. One in Chicago, one in Seattle. I don't know how long those lasted or if they're still ongoing. I'm still digging." Jessica grabbed my hand. My mother made a sound like she'd been punched. "He's been living 3 separate lives," Rachel continued. "Maybe more. Work trips that were actually time with you. Conferences that were vacations with someone else. Late nights at the office that were God knows what." "Why?" I asked. "Why would someone do this?" "I don't know," Rachel said. And she sounded so tired. So broken. "I've been asking myself that for the last 4 days since I found out. Is it money? Control? Does he get off on the lying? I have no idea." "What are you going to do?" Jessica asked. "Divorce him," Rachel said immediately. "Take him for everything he's worth. Make sure he never sees his kids again without supervision. But first," she paused. "First, I want to make him pay. Really pay. Not just financially. I want him to feel what we feel. The humiliation. The betrayal. The destruction of everything he thought was secure." Something in her voice made me sit up straighter. "What are you thinking?" I asked. "I'm thinking," Rachel said slowly, "that you and I should meet. In person. Without Michael knowing. Because I have an idea, and I think you're going to like it." I looked at Jessica, then at my mother. They both looked back at me with identical expressions. "I'm listening," I said. "Michael doesn't know that I told you about the other women," Rachel said. "He doesn't know how much I've uncovered. He thinks this is just about you and me. He thinks he can maybe explain his way out of this, manipulate us, play us against each other." "Okay," I said. "So what if we let him think that? What if we both pretend to be devastated, heartbroken, emotional wrecks who he might be able to sweet-talk or gaslight? What if we let him think he has a chance with both of us?" I was starting to see where this was going. "And then?" I asked. "And then we destroy him," Rachel said simply. "Together. We gather evidence. We coordinate with a lawyer. We make sure every single person in his life knows exactly what he did. His boss. His colleagues. His clients. His family. Everyone. His company has a morality clause in their employment contracts," Jessica said suddenly. I remember Michael mentioning it once. Something about how financial advisors have to maintain public trust and ethical standards. "Perfect," Rachel said. "We'll make sure they know about his multiple families, his fraud, his lies. We'll get him fired and blacklisted." My mother was nodding. "I know people at the state licensing board. What he did might qualify as fraud. especially if he used company resources or client information inappropriately. We could also go to the media, Jessica added. Local news would eat this up. Financial advisor living triple life? That's a headline. I sat there, listening to them plan Michael's downfall, and something shifted inside me. The shock was fading. The heartbreak was still there, raw and painful. But underneath it, something else was growing. Anger. Pure, righteous, burning anger. When do you want to meet? I asked Rachel. Tomorrow, she said. There's a coffee shop called Brennan's on 5th Street. Do you know it? I know it. 2 o'clock? I'll be there. Sarah, Rachel said, her voice softer now. I know this is horrible. I know you're hurting, but I promise you, we're going to make this right. He's not going to get away with what he did to us. No, I agreed. He's not. We hung up. Jessica looked at me with something like pride in her eyes. You're really going to do this? Oh, I'm absolutely going to do this, I said. Michael wanted to play games with people's lives? Fine. But now he's playing against 2 women who have nothing left to lose and everything to gain. My mother squeezed my shoulder. That's my girl. For the first time since Rachel had walked into my engagement party, I smiled. It wasn't a happy smile, but it was determined. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Michael's face. The guilt, the panic, the desperation when he realized his entire world was collapsing. But I also saw Rachel's face. The pain, the betrayal, the determination. She'd been living with his lies for 8 years. 8 years of believing her husband was working hard for their family while he was actually building completely separate lives with other women. I'd only been with him for 2 years, and I felt destroyed. I couldn't imagine what she was going through. Jessica stayed with me that night. We sat on my couch, eating ice cream at 3 in the morning, not really talking, just existing in the wreckage of what my life had become. You know what the worst part is? I said finally. What? I actually believed I knew him. I thought I understood him better than anyone. I thought we had this deep connection, this partnership, but I didn't know him at all. I was in love with a ghost, a character he was playing. Jessica put her arm around me. That's not your fault. He's a professional liar. This is what he does. How did I not see it? I asked. How did I not notice the signs? Because you're a normal person who assumes other people are telling the truth, Jessica said. Because you're not a sociopath who assumes everyone is lying to you. That's not a weakness, Sarah. That's called being human. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It's Rachel. Just wanted to check if you're still okay with meeting tomorrow. No pressure if you've changed your mind. I understand this is a lot. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back. I'll be there. 2 o'clock. Her response came immediately. Thank you. We're going to get through this, together. The next morning, I woke up to 43 missed calls and 67 text messages. Most of them were from Michael. Sarah, please answer. I can explain everything. I know you're angry, but you have to let me tell you my side. I love you. That was real. Everything between us was real. Please don't throw away what we have because of a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. He was calling his secret wife and children a misunderstanding. I blocked his number. Then I got ready for my meeting with Rachel. Brennan's coffee shop was a small, cozy place in a quiet part of town. Not somewhere Michael and I had ever been together, which I appreciated. I got there 15 minutes early and ordered a latte I had no intention of drinking. My stomach was in knots. Rachel walked in at exactly 2 o'clock. In person, without the adrenaline and shock of the engagement party, I could see her more clearly. She was pretty in an understated way. No makeup. Hair in a simple ponytail. Dark circles under her eyes that suggested she hadn't slept either. She spotted me and walked over, her expression uncertain. Sarah? Rachel? We stared at each other for a moment. 2 women who'd been lied to by the same man. 2 women whose lives had been built on the same foundation of deception. Then Rachel did something unexpected. She hugged me. It was brief and awkward, but genuine. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry he did this to you. We sat down across from each other. I brought everything, Rachel said, pulling a thick folder out of her bag. Phone records, credit card statements, emails, photos. Everything I found in the last 4 days. She spread it out on the table between us like evidence at a crime scene. And that's exactly what it was, really. Evidence of a crime against our hearts, our trust, our futures. This is his phone bill for the last year, she said, pointing to highlighted sections. See these numbers? That's you. He calls you mostly during the day, between 9 and 5. Business hours. When he's supposedly at work. She pulled out another page. This number here? That's someone in Seattle. He calls her mostly on weekends. And this one? Chicago. Weeknight evenings. How many? I asked quietly. As far as I can tell? 4 of us total, including you and me. But there might be more. These are just the ones with regular contact over the past year. 4 women. Possibly more. Here's his credit card statement, Rachel continued. See these charges? Jewelry purchases. Flowers. Expensive dinners. Hotel rooms. He's been funding multiple relationships simultaneously. How did he afford all this? I asked. Rachel's expression darkened. That's the other thing I found. He's been embezzling from our joint savings. Money I thought was going toward the kids' college funds? He's been draining it to finance his other lives. Jesus. There's more, Rachel said. I hired a private investigator yesterday. Just to do a preliminary background check. Guess what they found? I wasn't sure I wanted to know. Michael isn't just a financial advisor. He's being investigated for fraud. Apparently, some of his clients have reported suspicious activity with their accounts. Missing money. Unauthorized transactions. It's all under wraps for now, but the investigation is ongoing. I sat back in my chair. So he's not just a cheater. He's a criminal. Looks like it. We sat in silence for a moment, absorbing the full scope of Michael's deception. I've been thinking, Rachel said finally, about what we should do. I want to destroy him, but I want to do it smart, legal, so he can't come back from it. What are you thinking? First, documentation. We gather every piece of evidence we can. Phone records, emails, financial statements, witness testimony. We build an airtight case doc. Second, we contact the other women. The ones in Seattle and Chicago. They deserve to know what he's doing. And they might have information we don't. I nodded. That made sense. Third, we go to his employer. Not to gossip, but to report legitimate concerns about his conduct and ethics. Let them do their own investigation. His morality clause, I said. Remembering what Jessica had mentioned, exactly. If they find evidence he's been using company resources to facilitate his personal life, or if the fraud investigation turns up anything, they'll have grounds to terminate him. CTA break, 15:15. This is where things get really good. If you want to see how we took Michael down, make sure you're subscribed and keep watching because the revenge we pulled off was absolutely perfect. Now back to the story. Fourth, Rachel continued, we coordinate our legal response. I'm filing for divorce, obviously, and I'm going after full custody of the kids. But I'm also considering a civil suit for fraud and emotional distress. Can you do that? My lawyer thinks so. Michael made financial commitments to me under false pretenses. He diverted family funds for personal use. That's actionable. What about me? I asked. What can I do? Do you have any financial entanglements with him? Joint accounts? Co-signed loans? No, I said. We were waiting until after the wedding for all that. Good. That makes it cleaner for you. But you can still file a police report for fraud. He proposed to you while married to someone else. Depending on the state laws, that might be illegal. Even if it's not criminal, it's documented evidence of his pattern of deception. I pulled out my phone and started taking notes. Fifth, Rachel said, and this is the part I'm most excited about, we make sure everyone knows. Not in a revenge, immature way, but factually. His family, his friends, his colleagues, his clients if possible. We tell them the truth about who he really is. Won't that seem vindictive? Maybe, Rachel admitted, but I don't care. Other women need to know. His parents need to know what their son really is. His boss needs to know they're employing someone with no moral compass. This isn't about revenge. It's about protection. Protecting other women from becoming victim number 5, 6, 7. She was right. This wasn't just about us anymore. There's one more thing, Rachel said slowly, and you might not like this part. What? I think we should let Michael think he can fix this. I frowned. What do you mean? I mean, we don't ghost him. We don't cut him off completely. We stay just engaged enough that he thinks there's a chance he can manipulate us, talk his way back into our lives. Why would we do that? Because he'll incriminate himself, Rachel said. He'll say things trying to defend himself. He'll make promises he can't keep. He'll lie more. And we'll document all of it. Every text, every phone call, every manipulation tactic. It'll all be evidence. It was brilliant. And horrible. And exactly what Michael deserved. So we play along? I asked. We play along, Rachel confirmed. Just long enough to hang himself. I thought about it for a moment. About Michael's panicked texts that morning. His desperate claims that he loved me, that it was all a misunderstanding. Okay, I said. I'm in. Lie number 2. If he'd been planning to tell me, he wouldn't have been apartment hunting with me for our post-wedding home. The right time? I repeated. When? After we got married? No. Before. Soon. I was working up the courage. I know I should have told you sooner. I know that was wrong, but I was scared. Scared of losing you. His voice cracked on the last word. He was good. Really good. If I didn't know better, I might have believed him. What about the other women? I asked. Rachel said there were others. Seattle, Chicago. There was a pause. A beat too long. She's lying, Michael said finally. She's trying to turn you against me because she's angry about you. There are no other women. There's only you, Sarah. You're the only one I love. Lie number 3. I need time, I said. To process all of this. It's too much. I understand. I do. Take all the time you need. But please, please don't give up on us. What we have is real. That hasn't changed. Everything has changed, Michael. Not my love for you, he said. That's never changed. That will never change. I closed my eyes. A week ago, those words would have made my heart soar. Now they just made me sick. I have to go, I said. Sarah, wait. Can we meet? Just the two of us? Let me take you to dinner. Let me explain everything properly. Face to face. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Please. One dinner. If after that you want nothing to do with me, I'll respect that. I'll leave you alone. But give me one chance to make this right. I pretended to think about it. Maybe, I said finally. I'll let you know. Thank you, he said. And the relief in his voice was palpable. Thank you, Sarah. I love you. I hung up without saying it back. Then I immediately called Rachel. He took the bait, I said. He's already lying. Told me you two were separated. That there are no other women. That you're making it all up because you're jealous. Perfect, Rachel said. He called me too, about an hour ago. Told me you were just a client who developed an inappropriate attachment to him. That he tried to let you down easy but you wouldn't take no for an answer. Said the engagement party was something you planned without his knowledge. What? He's telling us completely different stories, Rachel said. Classic manipulator tactic. Keep the victims separated so they don't compare notes. Too bad for him we're comparing notes. Did you record the call? Yes, every word. Good. Send it to me. I'm building a folder of everything. I texted her the recording, then sat back on my couch. Jessica came out of my kitchen with 2 glasses of wine. How'd it go? She asked. He's already lying through his teeth. Trying to play me. Trying to make me doubt Rachel. What a piece of shit, Jessica said. So what's next? I'm going to agree to have dinner with him. Let him think he's winning me over. And I'm going to record every second of it. You need backup, Jessica said. I'm coming with you. I'll sit at another table. Close enough to intervene if he tries anything. Far enough that he won't notice me. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do. You're my best friend. And I'm not letting you face that sociopath alone. 3 days later, I texted Michael. Okay. Dinner. Thursday night. But somewhere public. His response was immediate. Anywhere you want. You pick. Thank you for giving me this chance. I chose a restaurant downtown. Upscale but busy. Lots of witnesses. Lots of ambient noise to cover the fact that my phone would be recording in my purse. Rachel helped me prepare. Remember, she said over the phone the night before. Let him talk. Don't interrupt. Don't correct his lies. Just let him dig himself deeper. The more he talks, the more he'll contradict himself. What if I lose my temper? You won't. Because you're stronger than he is. And because you know something he doesn't know. What's that? That he's already lost. You guys are not going to believe what Michael said at this dinner. But before I tell you, drop a comment telling me what you think he said. And hit subscribe because the ending of this story is absolutely insane. Back to the story. Thursday arrived. I dressed carefully. Not too nice, like I was trying to impress him, but not too casual either, like I didn't care. I needed to look like someone who was still on the fence, still potentially salvageable. Jessica was already at the restaurant when I arrived, seated 3 tables away with a magazine and a glass of wine. She gave me the tiniest nod. Michael was waiting at our table. He stood when he saw me, his face lighting up with hope. He'd lost weight, had dark circles under his eyes. Good. Sarah, he said, moving to hug me. I stepped back. Let's just sit. His face fell, but he recovered quickly. Of course. You look beautiful. I said nothing. Just sat down and placed my purse strategically on the table, phone recording inside. Thank you for coming, Michael said. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. I'm glad you did. I've been going crazy these last few days. Not being able to talk to you, not being able to explain. So explain, I said. I'm listening. Michael took a deep breath, like he was about to deliver the performance of his life. Rachel and I got married young, he began. Too young. We were 23. We thought we were in love, but we were really just kids who didn't know any better. She said, you've been married 8 years. We have. And for most of those 8 years, we've been unhappy. We stayed together for the kids. That's the only reason. She doesn't seem to think you're unhappy. She showed me photos of your anniversary dinner last month. You both looked pretty happy. Michael didn't miss a beat. We were trying. For the kids. We thought if we went through the motions, maybe we could make it work. But it was just pretend, Sarah. All of it. So you're separated? Emotionally, yes. Legally, not yet. I was going to file for divorce this summer. I was just trying to find the right time to tell the kids lie. And me? I asked. Where did I fit into all of this? You were never part of a plan, Michael said, reaching across the table for my hand. I let him take it, even though touching him made my skin crawl. I met you and I fell in love. Real love. Not the obligation and routine I had with Rachel, but actual, genuine love. You proposed to me while you were still married. I know that was wrong. But I was going to handle it, Sarah. I was going to divorce Rachel and then we'd get married. I had a plan. What plan? I was going to tell Rachel I wanted a divorce right after our engagement party. I was going to be honest with her about you, about us. And then we'd figure out custody and finances and all of that. But you didn't tell her, because she found out before I could. She went through my iPad. She invaded my privacy and found out in the worst possible way. If she'd just waited, if she'd just trusted me, I could have handled it properly. He was actually blaming Rachel for finding out about his lies. The audacity was breathtaking. What about the other women? I asked. There are no other women, Michael insisted. Rachel made that up. She's trying to make me look worse than I am because she's hurt and angry. So you're saying Rachel is lying? I'm saying she's exaggerating, misinterpreting things. I have female colleagues, female clients. Maybe she saw phone records and jumped to conclusions. She seemed pretty certain. She's unstable, Sarah. I didn't want to tell you this because I didn't want you to judge her, especially since she's the mother of my children. But Rachel has some issues. Paranoia, jealousy. She's been seeing a therapist. I almost broke character. Almost called him out right there. But I held it together. That's a pretty serious accusation, I said. I'm not trying to attack her. I'm just trying to give you context. So you understand why she showed up at our party making wild claims. Our food arrived. I'd ordered but couldn't remember what. It sat in front of me, untouched. So what do you want from me? I asked. Why are we here? I want us, Michael said. I want to fix this. I want to marry you, Sarah. That hasn't changed. You're already married. Not for long. I'll file for divorce immediately. We'll push the wedding back a year. Give everything time to settle. But we can still have our future. We can still have everything we planned. He squeezed my hand. I made mistakes, he continued. I handled this badly. But the core of it, my love for you, that's real. That's the one true thing in all of this mess. I looked at him. Really looked at him. At this man I'd thought I knew. This man I'd planned to spend my life with. And I saw nothing but a stranger. A stranger who lied as easily as breathing. Who manipulated with the skill of a professional. Who felt no genuine remorse for the lives he'd destroyed. I need to use the bathroom, I said, pulling my hand away. Of course. Take your time. I grabbed my purse and walked to the restroom. Once inside, I locked the door and pulled out my phone. The recording was still going. Perfect. I texted Rachel. He's calling you unstable. Says you're paranoid and jealous. Says there are no other women and you made it all up. Her response, perfect. Let him keep talking. I took a breath, composed myself, and went back to the table. Where were we? Michael asked, smiling. You were telling me how much you love me. I do love you. More than anything. Prove it, I said. How? Leave her. Right now. Tonight. Pack your things and leave. If you really want to be with me, if this is really about us, then stop living in that house. Stop pretending to be her husband. Michael's smile faltered. Sarah, it's not that simple. There are logistics. The kids. I can't just... Yes, you can. If you love me the way you say you do, you can. I'll do it, he said quickly. I'll do it this weekend. I just need a few days to prepare, to talk to Rachel, to make arrangements for the kids. This weekend? I repeated. I promise. By Monday, I'll be moved out. Another lie. He had no intention of leaving. He was just saying whatever he thought would keep me hooked. Okay, I said. I'll hold you to that. Relief flooded his face. Thank you. Thank you for giving me another chance. You won't regret this. But he would. He definitely would. I left the restaurant that night with 3 hours of recorded lies. Jessica walked me to my car, staying quiet until we were out of earshot. That was incredible, she said. The way you played him? Academy Award worthy. I felt like I was going to throw up the entire time. But you didn't. You kept it together. And now you have everything on tape. I sat in my car for a moment before starting the engine, just letting the adrenaline drain out of me. My phone buzzed. Rachel, how'd it go? Got everything. Sending you the recording now. You're amazing. Let's meet tomorrow. I have updates too. The next afternoon, Rachel and I met at her lawyer's office. His name was David Chen, no relation to me, and he specialized in family law and fraud cases. Rachel had hired him 3 days after the engagement party. Ms. Sullivan, Miss Chen, he greeted us, gesturing to chairs in his office. I've reviewed the materials you sent over, Rachel, and I have to say, this is one of the most clear-cut cases of marital fraud I've seen in my 20 years of practice. He opened a folder on his desk. Let's start with the financials. Michael has been systematically draining your joint accounts, Rachel. Over the past 2 years alone, he's withdrawn nearly $80,000 that's unaccounted for. Rachel's face went pale. 80,000? Hotels, jewelry, travel expenses, all for relationships outside the marriage. Additionally, he took out a loan against your house without your knowledge or signature. How is that possible? Rachel asked. Forgery, most likely. We'll need a handwriting analyst to confirm. But the signature on the loan documents doesn't match samples of your actual signature. That's illegal, I said. Very illegal, David confirmed. That's fraud, identity theft, and potentially embezzlement depending on how we categorize the marital assets he misappropriated. He turned to me. And Sarah, based on what Rachel has told me about your situation, you may have grounds for a civil suit as well. Fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress, possibly more. I don't want his money, I said. I just want him to face consequences. Oh, he will, David said. Between the divorce proceedings, the criminal investigation into the loan fraud, and the complaint we're filing with his employer, Michael Sullivan is going to be very busy very soon. Criminal investigation? Rachel repeated. If he forged your signature on loan documents, that's a felony. We'll be reporting it to the police this week. Rachel sat back in her chair, processing. What about the other women? She asked. The ones in Seattle and Chicago? I've had my investigator track them down, David said. Their names are Jennifer Marks in Seattle and Alicia Torres in Chicago. Both had relationships with Michael spanning multiple years. Do they know about each other? I asked. Not yet. My investigator approached Jennifer yesterday. She was shocked, to put it mildly. She had no idea Michael was married. She thought they were exclusive. How long were they together? Rachel asked quietly. 3 years. He told her he was divorced. Told her his ex-wife had primary custody of his kids, which is why he couldn't introduce her to them. Rachel closed her eyes. 3 years. And Alicia in Chicago? 2 years. Similar story. He told her he was a widower, that his wife had died in a car accident. The room went silent. He told her I was dead? Rachel whispered. I'm so sorry, David said gently. I know this is difficult to hear. Is she willing to talk to us? I asked. Jennifer? She is. In fact, she's furious. She wants to help. She's gathering evidence from her end, phone records, photos, everything. What about Alicia? She's still processing. My investigator left her contact information if she wants to reach out. Rachel was shaking. I put my hand on her arm. Are you okay? I asked. No, she said honestly. I'm not okay. But I will be. Once this is over. David pulled out another document. Now, let's talk about the divorce proceedings. Rachel, you'll be filing for divorce on grounds of adultery and fraud. We'll be seeking full custody of the children with supervised visitation for Michael only. Will I get it? Rachel asked. Full custody? Given his pattern of deception, his financial fraud, and his inability to maintain a stable home environment? Yes, I'm confident we will. What about his job? I asked. His company? I've drafted a formal complaint to Westbrook and Associates detailing Michael's conduct, David said. The morality clause in his contract is very specific. Employees must maintain the highest ethical standards, both professionally and personally, as they represent the company and handle sensitive client information. Will they fire him? Almost certainly, especially once the fraud investigation becomes public. No financial firm wants that kind of liability or publicity. Rachel took a shaky breath. This is really happening. This is really happening, David confirmed. Michael Sullivan's life as he knows it is about to implode, and it's entirely his own fault. If you think Michael deserves everything that's about to happen to him, smash that like button. And make sure you're subscribed because the confrontation scene is coming up and it is legendary. Back to the story. That weekend, Michael texted me. I did it. I moved out. I'm staying at a hotel until I find an apartment. I'm really doing this, Sarah. For us. I showed Rachel the text. She laughed bitterly. He's not at a hotel, she said. He's sitting in our living room right now watching football with Lucas. She sent me a photo. Michael, on their couch, beer in hand, their son curled up next to him. He was lying even about leaving. I texted back, I'm proud of you. This must be hard. It is. But it's worth it. You're worth it. Can I see you this week? Maybe, I'll let you know. I had no intention of seeing him, but I needed him to think I might. Needed him to keep believing he was in control. Rachel was monitoring his every move now. She'd installed tracking software on his phone without his knowledge when he was in the shower. She knew everywhere he went. Everyone he talked to. He called Alicia in Chicago yesterday, Rachel told me. Told her he missed her. That he'd be visiting next month. He's still juggling all of us, I said, incredulous. He thinks he can. He thinks he's that good. Jennifer from Seattle reached out to me directly that week. We had a three-way call, me, Rachel, and Jennifer. I can't believe I was so stupid, Jennifer said, her voice thick with tears. 3 years. 3 years of my life wasted on a lie. You're not stupid, Rachel said firmly. He's a professional con artist. This is what he does. Did he tell you he wanted to marry you? I asked. Yes, Jennifer said. He proposed last year. I have a ring and everything. We were planning a wedding for next spring. My stomach dropped. You're engaged to him too? Was engaged. Obviously that's off now. So Michael had 3 fiancés. Me, Jennifer, and apparently he'd been planning to propose to Alicia soon based on some texts Rachel had found. 4 women. 4 completely separate lives. 4 sets of promises and lies. We need to coordinate our response, Rachel said. All of us. We need to confront him together. Confront him how? Jennifer asked. In person. All 4 of us if Alicia agrees. We show up where he can't escape. And we make him face what he's done. I'm in, Jennifer said immediately. Me too, I agreed. I'll reach out to Alicia again, Rachel said. See if she's ready when? Jennifer asked. Soon, Rachel said. Very soon. I'm filing for divorce next week. Once those papers are served, he'll know the game is up. So we need to do this before that. While he still thinks he's getting away with it. Where? I asked. Rachel was quiet for a moment. Then she said, his office. During business hours. In front of his colleagues and clients. That's brutal, Jennifer said. Good, Rachel replied. He deserves brutal. 2 days later, Alicia called. She'd been crying. I could hear it in her voice. I'm in, she said. Whatever you're planning, I want to be there. Are you sure? Rachel asked gently. This is going to be difficult. He told me his wife was dead, Alicia said, her voice breaking. He made me feel sorry for him. He said he'd never love anyone the way he loved her. And it was all a lie. She's not dead. She's you. And I'm just one more woman he was using. You're not just anything, I said. You're a victim. Just like the rest of us. How do we do this? Alicia asked. We show up at his office, Rachel explained. Wednesday afternoon. 3 o'clock. All four of us. We walk in together, and we tell everyone exactly who Michael Sullivan really is. I'll have to fly in from Chicago, Alicia said. I'll pay for your ticket, Rachel said. Consider it an investment in justice. I can fly in from Seattle, Jennifer added. My sister lives in town. I can stay with her. Then it's settled, Rachel said. Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Westbrook and Associates. What do we say? I asked. The truth, Rachel said simply. We just tell the truth. We spent the next few days preparing. Rachel worked with David to make sure everything we were planning was legal. We weren't there to slander Michael or damage the company. We were there to deliver factual information about an employee's conduct. David advised us to keep it brief, professional. Let the facts speak for themselves. Don't get emotional, he said. Don't make threats. Just state what happened. The company will do the rest. Jennifer arrived Tuesday night. Alicia flew in Wednesday morning. We met for lunch before the confrontation. 4 women who should never have met. 4 women whose paths had crossed because of one man's pathological lying. Jennifer was tall and athletic, a yoga instructor with kind eyes that had seen too much hurt recently. Alicia was small and fierce, a high school teacher who looked like she could murder Michael with her bare hands. We sat around the table, this strange sisterhood born from shared betrayal. I keep thinking about all the signs I missed, Jennifer said. All the times he was distant or unavailable. I thought he was just busy with work. Me too, Alicia said. He'd go days without calling. I thought he was giving me space, being respectful. He was with other women, Rachel said flatly. He was with us. How do we even process this? I asked. How do we move on from something like this? One day at a time, Rachel said. And starting with today. Starting with making sure he can't do this to anyone else. At 2:45, we got in Rachel's car and drove to Westbrook and Associates. The building was sleek and modern, all glass and steel. Michael's office was on the 7th floor. We walked through the lobby together, 4 women on a mission. The receptionist looked up as we approached. Can I help you? We're here to see Michael Sullivan, Rachel said calmly. Do you have an appointment? We don't need one, Rachel said. We're his wife, and his fiancés. The receptionist's eyes went wide. I'll call his office. Don't bother, Rachel said, already walking toward the elevators. We know where it is. The elevator ride to the 7th floor felt like it took forever and no time at all. None of us spoke. We just stood there, 4 women who'd been lied to by the same man, about to blow up his entire world. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking, but when I looked at Rachel beside me, I saw nothing but ice-cold determination. The elevator dinged. The doors opened. Westbrook and Associates was exactly what you'd expect from a high-end financial firm. Expensive furniture, original art on the walls, floor-to-ceiling windows with views of the city. Everything designed to scream success and trustworthiness. A young woman at the reception desk looked up as we approached. Can I help you, ladies? We're here to see Michael Sullivan, Rachel said. Is he expecting you? Oh, he's definitely not expecting us, Jennifer muttered. The receptionist looked confused. Let me just call his office. That won't be necessary, Rachel said, already walking past the desk. We know where his office is. Wait, you can't just... But we were already moving. Down the hallway, past cubicles where employees looked up curiously, past glass-walled conference rooms, past motivational posters about integrity and trust. Michael's office was at the end of the hall. Corner office. His name on the door. Rachel didn't knock. She just opened the door and walked in. Michael was on a phone call, his back to us, looking out at the city view. Yes, I'll have those projections to you by Friday, he was saying. Absolutely, no problem at all. He turned around and saw us, all 4 of us, standing in his office doorway. The color drained from his face so fast I thought he might pass out. I'll call you back, he said into the phone, his voice strangled. He hung up without waiting for a response. Hello, Michael, Rachel said calmly. What are all of you doing here? We thought it was time we all met, Rachel said. Properly, all of your fiancés together. Michael's eyes darted between us, panic setting in. This is not the time or place. Oh, I think this is exactly the time and place, Jennifer said, stepping forward. Hi, Michael, remember me? Jennifer, your fiancé from Seattle? The one you proposed to last year? And I'm Alicia, said Alicia, her voice cold. From Chicago, the one whose husband supposedly died in a tragic accident. Except you're not dead, are you, Michael? You're just a liar. I'm Sarah, I added. In case you've forgotten, your most recent fiancé. The one whose engagement party your wife crashed. Michael held up his hands. Okay, I know this looks bad. Looks bad? Rachel repeated, her voice rising. Looks bad? Michael, you have been married to me for 8 years while simultaneously engaged to 3 other women. You have 2 children who think their father works too much when he's actually living entire separate lives in other cities. You forged my signature on loan documents. You stole $80,000 from our family accounts. You told Alicia I was dead. Her voice echoed through the office, through the hallway. Several heads poked out of nearby offices. Please, Michael said desperately, moving toward the door to close it. Can we discuss this privately? No, Rachel said, blocking his path. No more privacy. No more secrets. We're doing this right here, right now, in front of everyone. Michael's boss appeared in the doorway. A distinguished older man in an expensive suit. Type Michael? What's going on here? Mr. Westbrook, Rachel said, turning to him. I'm Rachel Sullivan, Michael's wife. And these are Jennifer, Alicia, and Sarah, Michael's 3 fiancés. Mr. Westbrook's expression shifted from confused to horrified. Wife? Fiancés? Michael, what is she talking about? Sir, there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, Jennifer said, pulling out her phone. I have texts, emails, photos of us together. He proposed to me last June. Gave me this ring. She held up her hand, showing an engagement ring. He proposed to me 6 months ago, I added. We were planning a wedding for next spring. He told me we'd get married as soon as his grief over his dead wife subsided, Alicia said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Except his wife isn't dead. She's standing right here. More employees were gathering now, watching, listening. Michael's entire professional life was watching his personal life explode in real time. Michael has been living multiple lives, Rachel continued, addressing Mr. Westbrook directly, using company resources to maintain these relationships, using his work travel schedule as cover, and he's under investigation for fraud. He forged my signature on loan documents. That's a serious accusation, Mr. Westbrook said slowly. It's a serious crime, Rachel corrected, and it's being reported to the police. I thought your company should know, given the morality clause in his contract. Sir, I can explain, Michael tried again, but his voice was shaking. These women are exaggerating. I'm his wife, Rachel shouted, legally married for 8 years. We have 2 children together. There's nothing to exaggerate. These are just facts. This is where Michael completely breaks down. If you want to see a liar face the consequences of his actions, keep watching. And subscribe because I promise the ending is worth it. Now back to the story. I have documentation, Rachel said to Mr. Westbrook. She pulled a folder from her bag. Marriage certificate, birth certificates for our children, joint bank account statements, photos spanning 8 years. And here are the forged loan documents with my signature that doesn't match any actual sample of my handwriting. She handed the folder to Mr. Westbrook, who took it with trembling hands. I also have phone records showing that Michael has been using his company phone to conduct these relationships, Rachel added. Calls during business hours, text messages using company devices. I believe your IT department will find quite a lot if they look into his company laptop and phone. Mr. Westbrook was flipping through the documents, his face growing paler by the second. Michael, he said slowly, is this true? Michael opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. It's complicated. It's really not, Jennifer said. He lied to all of us, made promises he never intended to keep, led 4 separate lives because he's a narcissistic sociopath who gets off on manipulating people. You broke my heart, Alicia said, her voice breaking. You made me believe in love again after my actual divorce. You made me feel safe, and it was all a game to you. I loved you, Michael said desperately, looking at me. Sarah, you know I loved you. What we had was real. You don't know what love is, I said coldly. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't manipulate. Love doesn't destroy people for entertainment. I never meant to hurt anyone, Michael pleaded. But you did, Rachel said. You hurt all of us. You hurt your children. You hurt your career. And now you're going to face the consequences. Mr. Westbrook closed the folder. Michael, you're suspended effective immediately. Pending a full investigation into these allegations, security will escort you from the building. You'll surrender your company phone, laptop, and access badge. Sir, please. I don't want to hear it, Mr. Westbrook said, his voice hard. If even half of what these women are saying is true, you violated every ethical standard this company stands for. You're done here. 2 security guards appeared as if summoned. Gentlemen, please escort Mr. Sullivan out. He's no longer employed here. Michael looked at us. One last desperate attempt. Please, all of you. I made mistakes, but we can fix this. There's nothing to fix, Rachel said. You're being served with divorce papers tomorrow. I'm filing for full custody. I'm reporting the fraud to the police. And I hope you spend a very long time dealing with the consequences of what you've done. Jennifer and I are pressing charges too, Alicia added, for fraud and emotional distress. And I'm making sure everyone we know hears about this, I said. Your family, your friends, everyone is going to know who you really are. Michael's face crumpled. He actually started crying. You're ruining my life, he said. No, Rachel said quietly. You ruined your own life. We're just making sure everyone knows about it. The security guards took Michael's arms. He didn't resist. Just let them lead him out of his office, past all his co-workers, past the receptionist, into the elevator. We watched him go. The office was dead silent. 30 people watching, witnessing, recording on their phones. Mr. Westbrook turned to us. I apologize on behalf of Westbrook and Associates, he said formally. We had no knowledge of Mr. Sullivan's personal conduct. Had we known, he would never have been employed here. We understand, Rachel said. We just wanted you to know the truth. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. And again, I'm deeply sorry for what he put you through. We nodded and turned to leave. As we walked through the office, people stepped aside. Some looked sympathetic. Some looked shocked. Some looked like they wanted to applaud. One woman, maybe in her 50s, stopped Rachel. Good for you, she said quietly. My ex-husband did something similar. I wish I'd had the courage to do what you just did. Rachel squeezed her hand. It's never too late to stand up for yourself. We rode the elevator down in silence. It wasn't until we were outside, standing on the sidewalk, that anyone spoke. That was, Jennifer started. Incredible, Alicia finished. Terrifying, I added. Necessary, Rachel said firmly. We stood there for a moment, this unlikely sisterhood, bound together by betrayal but strengthened by justice. What happens now? Jennifer asked. Now, Rachel said, we move on. We heal. We rebuild our lives without him in them. I'm keeping the ring, Jennifer said suddenly. I'm selling it and donating the money to a domestic abuse charity. That's perfect, Alicia said. I'm doing the same with mine. I looked at my engagement ring, the one Michael had given me on that beach in Santorini, the one that had represented our future. I pulled it off my finger. I think I'll do the same, I said. Rachel smiled. A real smile this time. Tired but genuine. You know what? Let's do it together, all of us. Let's sell all the rings and donate every penny. Let something good come from this nightmare. I love that, Jennifer said. Me too, Alicia agreed. We stood there, 4 women holding 4 engagement rings that represented 4 elaborate lies. And then, one by one, we dropped them into Rachel's purse. To new beginnings, Rachel said. To truth, I added. To never letting anyone treat us like that again, Jennifer said. To us, Alicia finished. We hugged. This strange, broken, fierce group of women who'd been brought together by betrayal and forged into something stronger. 1 year later, I was at Jennifer's wedding. She'd invited all of us, me, Rachel, and Alicia. We sat together during the ceremony, watching Jennifer marry Amanda in a beautiful outdoor ceremony in Seattle. Jennifer looked radiant, happy in a way she'd never been with Michael. Amanda looked at her like she hung the moon. This was what love was supposed to look like, I thought. Honest, open, real. After the ceremony, at the reception, the 4 of us found ourselves together at a table. I can't believe it's been a year, Alicia said. Best worst thing that ever happened to me, Jennifer said, squeezing Amanda's hand. If Michael hadn't destroyed me, I never would have found her. That's one way to look at it, Rachel said, smiling. How are the kids? I asked. They're good, Rachel said. Emma starts kindergarten next month. Lucas is playing soccer. They ask about Michael sometimes, but less and less. I think they're adjusting to our new normal. And you? Alicia asked. How are you doing? Rachel paused, considering. I'm okay. Some days are harder than others. But I'm building a life I'm actually proud of. A life that's not based on lies. I'll drink to that, Jennifer said, raising her glass. We all clinked glasses. To surviving, Alicia said. To thriving, I corrected. To us, Rachel added. To the sisterhood we never wanted but desperately needed. To never settling for less than we deserve, Jennifer finished. As the night went on, as we danced and laughed and celebrated Jennifer's happiness, I realized something. Michael hadn't destroyed me. He'd tried. God knows he'd tried. But I was still here, still standing, still capable of joy and hope and trust. I'd been through hell and come out the other side. And I wasn't alone. I had Jessica, my ride-or-die best friend. I had my family. I had this strange, beautiful sisterhood with Rachel, Jennifer, and Alicia. I had myself. Stronger, wiser, more resilient than I'd ever been before. Later that night, as I was leaving, Rachel caught my arm. Thank you, she said. For what? For not giving up. For standing with me. For making him face consequences. I couldn't have done it alone. You're stronger than you think, I told her. So are you, she replied. We hugged, and I realized that Rachel had become one of my closest friends. This woman who'd walked into my engagement party and blown up my world had become one of the most important people in my life. Funny how that works. And that's the end of Sarah's story. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been lied to or betrayed, drop a comment and let me know. You're not alone. Hit that like button if you think Sarah, Rachel, Jennifer, and Alicia handled this perfectly. And subscribe because I have more crazy true stories coming your way. Stories about revenge, justice, and people who refuse to be victims. Remember, you're stronger than you think. You deserve honesty. You deserve real love. And you never have to settle for less. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.